Okay, so let's do that. So maybe can I ask someone to just provide me a thumbs up or confirm from the chat if you are hearing me correctly and if you are seeing my screen correctly too, just before the start. Thanks a lot. So here we are. Hope so. PowerPoint will be do it correctly. Oh, we go. Perfect. So we got it. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, depend where you are. Thank you very much for joining us today. Let me introduce myself. My name is Sebastien Cote. For those who don't know me as well, I am the Microsoft Azure Program Manager at Tate Cloud. My role is to stimulate Azure activities by supporting the sales team about new partner acquisition. Through promotion and training, I'm here to demonstrate the benefit of Azure. In short, I act as an ambassador. As a special guest and collaborator today, with us on one of our colleagues, Fred Besson, Infra Cloud Support. Oh, sorry about that. So MS365 and Azure Specialist. Sorry about that, Fred. So Fred, can you just introduce yourself?
Good afternoon and good morning, everyone. All right, so for those of you who don't know me, as Sebastian mentioned, I'm a 365 and Azure specialist here at IT Cloud for the past 3 years. I wear many hats here, including assisting partners with their Azure deployments through our teammate service, discovering new solutions for Microsoft 365, and more. Also, in parallel, I am devoted with the Acronis team, also known as Backup Awning here in Quebec, during our technical transition. And additionally, I'm involved with new products that will soon be distributing, such as NordLayer. That being said, my role is to be your technical ally and share my knowledge.
Okay, thanks a lot, Fred. So now let's start our journey about this webinar called Azure Migration Strategy. Every MSP should know. Ding, we change of page. Hey, voila. First of all, expectation. This presentation is crafted for MSPs with experience in Azure migration concepts. Basic knowledge is recommended to follow the slide in the presentation. It is designed first for sales representatives, but also for technicians curious to learn a little bit more. To give you an idea of the scope, the client's reference mentioned during the presentation will be for SMB client. For example, with approximately 3 servers and maybe 10 employees. As the presentation progresses, if we ever refer to larger enterprise product services or technique that are less aligned with your SMB reality, we will let you know. Please understand, we strive to cover a wide range of subjects that must be adapted to all our partner sizes. This presentation is an introduction. We will present the necessary ingredient to offer this type of operation to your clients. After the presentation, you will be better equipped to integrate migration into your service offering and effectively support your SMB client. Also, as much as possible during our presentations, we strive to communicate the correct language. If specific terms or acronyms are used, we will explain them to you as we go along. For example, here, the term SMB, which stands for small and medium business, and the term MSP means managed service provider. Pardon me. Quick remember, during the presentation, you will be able to click or scan the different QR code in order to follow the links and the reference that we will share with you. And yes, before I forget, as you can see, English is not my first language. So I'm going to do my best today to offer you my best pronunciation. Move. Our meeting today will be quite simple for the next probably less 60 minutes that we are going to spend together. We will see Azure migration challenges, preparing the migration, governance and security, change management, post-migration optimization, and a Q&A session to answer all your questions. All of this increased by the presence of our special guest, Fred, just to make sure he has just enough pressure. Take note, there is no moderator for the presentation today, so nobody will look at the chat. So the Q&A session will be the right spot to ensure that we will answer to all your questions. During the presentation, if something is wrong, such as a problem with the audio or video, raise your hand through Teams to report the issue. And let's start our engine. First of all, we need to remember why migrate from on-prem to the cloud. There are specific market pressure and customer expectation. Company wants more flexibility, lower fixed cost, and the ability to innovate quickly. On-prem environments are often rigid, expensive to maintain, and slow to evolve. We must not forget the end-on infrastructure life. Many customers face with hardware renewal, obsolete licenses, or capacity limitation. The cloud allows us to avoid heavy capex investment and move to an on-demand consumption model, the OPEX. Azure offers advanced security tools to facilitate compliance, such as ISO, SOC, and GDPR, and geographic resilience. Remember, in Canada, we have two regions, Canada Central and Eastern Canada. Everyone here knows this well. On-premises environments require significant investments to achieve the same level of security that Azure can offer us with a few click of mouse. This brings us to the next one, to the advantage of the Azure cloud. For customer, for sure, we are talking about instant scalability. In other words, rapid adaptation to needs. By example, traffic spike or new project development. A quick access to innovation. I mean by artificial intelligence, IoT, DevOps services, and other. Maybe a little less for SMBs, but we need to talk about. Cost optimization from the pay-as-you-go costs are reduced when 1 or 3 years commitments and better visibility for the need by the Azure Cost Management. And don't forget mobility and remote working. Secure access to resource from anywhere. For example, with Azure AVD, Virtual Desktop, and Windows 365 as well. For MSPs, we are talking about new managed service monitoring, security, optimization, governance, application, modernization, automation and efficiency, rapid deployments, and centralized management. Customer loyalty to strategic guidance, ongoing support, added value through your service offering. And as well, recurring revenue growth, a new model based on subscription and a value added services. Remember, we already covered this subject by the past. Migrating to Azure, it's not just a technical decision. It's a strategic transformation. MSPs have a key role to play in supporting clients through this transition, combining technical expertise and managed services. We could summarize all this in a few words. The evolution of traditional IT architecture, centered on physical infrastructure and on premise environment, is undergoing a major transformation. Companies are migrating to hybrid or full cloud models, driven by imperative of scalability, resilience, security, and agility. Why does adopting Azure involve a change of culture and practice? Adopting Azure is not just about migrating a VM and database. It's about transforming the way IT teams design, deploy, and operate the services. We are talking about moving from the role of integrator to a strategic partner. Traditionally, MSPs manage on-premise infrastructure, server, network, backups, etc. With Azure, you become a player in digital transformation, supporting your client in modernization, innovation, and optimization projects. This involves a consultative rather compare a purely technical approach. an understanding of operational challenge to offer relevant cloud solution, an ongoing relationship with the client compared to a one-shot deal. You also need to develop new skills and use new tool and learning new concept. It also required a change in posture, moving from maintenance approach to a proactivity approach, integrating agile practice into client project, and maybe working in collaboration with the client's internal teams if necessary. You also need to be aware of the transformed business model. The cloud is transforming the revenue model. Fewer sales of hardware and license, but more recurring revenue by managed services, governance, security, and optimization. This required monitoring Azure consumption, anticipating fluctuation, and positioning optimization plan. In conclusion, you need to develop a culture focus on services and added value again and again. If you have not already, you need to think again your service offering. Implement cloud ready process, identity management, security management, monitoring, and all of the stuff. And of course, adopt a culture of continuous learning for your technical teams. This is a big part of the game too. We will come back to this point later. With Azure, things move quickly. We always have to be on the up to date. Fred, when you support our partners during migration, what are the points you always have to validate? You know what I mean? The little details.
Thank you, Sebastian. The main issue that we have, or the main concern, is always coming back to the upstream bandwidth, known as upload. When you are migrating or replicating your virtual machines or your infrastructure or your physical server in Azure, you need upload. So what happens is we need to establish a plan and also to be able to queue the upstream bandwidth, because if you upload your full throttle, it's going to really break down your internet connection, and you might have some problems, let's say with voice over IP and things like that. So there's some QoS that you need to do on your networking side. The other challenge that we sometimes have, oops, sorry, I went to the other deck, is the server or hypervisor status. Now, there is many hypervisors: VMware, Hyper-V, Proxmox. Also, if you're on another cloud platform, so we need really to analyze how we're going to deploy and how we're going to start this migration scenario, also known as a replication scenario. That's where we need to install a little appliance. We'll come back to that after. The other challenge that mainly have is application readjustment. Typical scenario: you have a MS SQL server with an ERP or CRM. When you migrate your VMs in Azure, there's some IP readdressing to do. So you might need to have the vendor, or if it's an in-house application, to retweak this application to be able to communicate on the IP level. So that needs to be forecasted and talked with the vendor before we do the official cutover. Next is the implementation. The implementation can be problematic. Let's say you want to migrate to Azure, you have a physical host, but you have no space. We need a little buffer of space, because what we're taking, we need a bit, let's say a buffer, we have 500 gigs, you need at least 250 gigs of buffer. But if your hard drive space is full on your RAID, then we can have a little problem. We could always do a site-to-site VPN and replicate the VMs with the migration appliance through the VPN. I'll get back to that later. But these are the main four concerns when it comes to migrations.
Thanks a lot for this more detailed explanation, Fred. So I take back the control and move to the next slide. Regarding the preparation to do a follow-up about what Fred just talking about. So assessment stage, where is my mouse? Come on, okay. Inventory of process, dependencies, and application. This stage is crucial to laying the foundation for a successful migration. It allows the MSP to demonstrate its value as a strategic partner when you know what you do. Process inventory, this involves identifying resources like VMs, database, application, files, network services. You then need to classify everything by criticality, usage, and environment, production, dev, test, depending on the size of the infrastructure. For dependency analysis, you need to map application flows, a rather old expression for detecting dependency, such as AD, DNS, share storage, or print services. This will allow you to identify the potential bottlenecks. For application, you need to assess compatibility with Azure, analyze the operating system, the version of, the middleware, and the license too, because there is a big world between, a big gap between on-prem and Azure licenses. Please note, as I mentioned, the difference between the on-premises license and Azure license when it comes to compliance. For example, you cannot always take license use on premise and recycle them into Azure. There are conditions to be compliant. If so, new license need to be provisioned for the customer. And all that story cover operating system and Microsoft application too. We talk about SQL by example. So taking care about that, this is a must. You have any question about this? For sure, let me know. I'm here to provide assistance about those concepts of licensing compliance. All of this will allow you to detect the quick wins for a quick and hassle-free migration. Next, you need to define Azure adoption model. In other words, the technique you will use. I mean, lift and shift, re-architecting, refactoring, or replacing. Each process can follow a specific adoption model depending on its complexity and operational objective. Let's quickly look at each of them. First, the lift and shift, or the rehosting, we call sometimes. This involves a direct migration to Azure without modification, which allow to use the VM in Azure. It's a kind of fairly straightforward matter. We can compare this technique to the previous, remember, P2V technique that we did a few years ago. Quick to implement, ideal for legacy process or some specific type of project. Fred will assist us to come better to get a better understanding about that. Next one, the re-architecting, a migration with slight adaptation. By example, if your customer already have an SQL server, we can move to Azure SQL services, a platform as a services or software as a services. This allows for a reduction in operating cost. You know, you don't need to pay for the OS, but you only pay for the services. It's ideal in performance and resilience improvement scenarios. Third, the refactoring, a partial rewrite to take advantage of the platform as a services. For example, containers and microservices for the purpose of optimizing, scaling, and maintenance. This one is more specific for larger enterprise, maybe. And finally, the replacing or repurchasing, or again, cloud native, different term for the same way. This involves the development of an application designed directly for the cloud. By example, a DevOps integration or infrastructure as a code. Or what we see often, the complete reinstallation of an operating system, the opposite from the lift and shift. So if you have on-prem server with data, you install and deploy a new server and you move your data over the web. Could be another way to achieve your goal. So remember, we did by the past from different server room to server room. This is exactly the same matter. So um, let's summarize. The two most popular technique are lift and shift, where we spend a lot of time about that today and tomorrow for the training, and the replacing when we spin up a new server and we move only the data. It will depend of whether you want to bring all the stuff or simply take the opportunity to start fresh, as we did in the good old days. Next one, the technical tools to accomplish this type of task will therefore be Azure Migrate and Azure Landing Zone. Okay, first, Azure Migrate. Somewhat the reason for our presentation today. It's a centralized platform in the Azure portal for implementing migration, available for server, database, and web application. Fred will talk about that later. The next one, the strange expression about Azure Landing Zone. Here, we mean only a set of best practice and tools for deploying a ready-to-use Azure environment. This will cover topics such as governance, security, network, identity, and cost management as well. Fred, do you have any additional information to add just to spice up all my sales pitch?
Yes, I do, Sebastian. So, in order to do an Azure migration, first of all, we need to do a migration analysis. Where are we leaving from? We talk a lot about of on-prem, whether it's physical servers, virtual machines. You can also be on other clouds, Amazon or Google Cloud, not to name a few. So everything is migratable from one source to the destination, which the final destination will be Azure. Now, how are we going to do this migration? Microsoft has provided us with tools and a wizard within Azure called Azure Migrate that will guide us through the process. The easiest process that has been changed over the couple of years, there was certain scenarios for specific types of scenarios. Today, we have one scenario. It's with the migration of an appliance. Microsoft provides what we call an OVA. So it's basically an open virtual appliance that can be installed on any type of hypervisor, whether it's Hyper-V, VMware, Proxmox. Even you can run it on Oracle VirtualBox if you don't have the infrastructure. So that appliance will be sitting in your on-prem, or if, like I mentioned, if you don't have any place on-prem, we could always go the alternate route to do a site-to-site VPN and use our migration appliance within Azure and get our data through this VPN tunnel. This appliance will serve as a discovery and inventory. So it will basically discover all your VMs or your workload that you want to transfer, and then give you the scenario directly in Azure on what you want to do when you are ready for your cutover. Now, after that, once everything is analyzed, we start the replication, and then after that, like I mentioned, it's a waiting game based on your upload and your upstream. Um, and after that, once everything is replicated, then we can start our cutover scenario. But we're not there yet. I'll get back to that after within the next slide. Sebastian, back to you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks again, Fred, for this more deeper explanation. So I take back the control, click here, and let's continue. So now let's talk about adoption. The famous governance. What exactly do? What is governance in Azure? In short, it's the set of rules, process, and tools that allow you to control, secure, organize the use of cloud resources in Azure environment. The key words to remember are framework, standardization, which will reduce the risk. Simple like that. The tool to achieve this are as follow. The Azure policy. This allows you to define and enforce rules on Azure resources. By example, the type of authorized VMs, data localization, mandatory encryption. You can create customized policy for each customer according to their regulatory requirement, like ISO, GDPR, or something else. Next one will be the Azure Blueprints. This is a set of reusable template for deploying compliant Azure environment from the start. It combines policies, RBAC roles, resource group, and ARM templates. This is more for larger environment, but it greatly helps for standardization. I have some difficulty with this one. Identity management with Entra. You all know where we are talking about centralized access control, integration with MFA, conditional access, privileged identity management, the PIM. A quick note here. PIM require a specific license from Entra ID. Just to be transparent with you, remember, PIM require a P2 license from Entra ID. So it will be designed for maybe a specific type of user or company. Sorry, I clicked too fast. So the second one will be automation and compliance by design. This involves infrastructure as a code using Bicep, Terraform, or ARM template to automate deployment. This is also a little less common for a smaller setup, I need to admit. DevOps integration, deploying Azure resource in a controlled manner, and automating compliance and security tests. Don't forget, under Azure, DevOps services are not under the CSP umbrella, but we can assist you to link the billing with us without any issue. And the third, and the technical best practice, a question of securing the migration for network security to use a NSG, a firewall, and a private endpoint to segment sensitive process. For data security, encryption at rest and in transit, and the use of Azure Key Vault for secret management. For application security, with the integration of Microsoft Defender for Cloud for threat detection and vulnerability scanning before and after migration. And finally, access management with the implementation of RBAC, PIM, and NMFA, which will obviously lead to a reduction in the scope of exposure. I know some previous reference, you must pay for someone, other are free of charge, depending of the size of your enterprise. I know. Fred, regarding the governance on a daily basis, what do your partner needs exactly?
Well, for security in Azure, there's always the Azure Virtual Desktop, which provides really secure access to an RDS or remote desktop service environment. Your port 3389 is not exposed directly on the internet. Microsoft takes care of all the brokering and everything. So you have your secure tunnel through the Microsoft Azure Virtual Desktop Gateway. Another way to secure your traffic, I have a lot of people sometimes, even when it comes to Azure Migrate, they say, where does my traffic go? How does it replicate? Well, by default, Azure Migrate, if you have your on-prem appliance, will go through public endpoints. So it goes on the internet. The traffic is encrypted, but there's a lot of people that are concerned for their data security. So, as Sebastian mentioned, there is a way to do it via a private endpoint. So basically, like I mentioned, we establish a site-to-site tunnel between your client and the Azure Virtual Network, and then we get the migration data or the data to pass through that VPN tunnel. So all the data is secure. Once that your VMs are transferred and you're ready for your cutover, then that's where we need to tweak our network security groups to ensure that first of all, there's security and our applications are accessible. Give you an example, you have a LAMP stack, which is a Linux Apache server, or an IIS server, which is a Windows-based web server that has port 443 opened. You need to have this open in your network security group, all depending on the client needs. So this is the way to secure your environment, and also to make sure that if you go through the private endpoint, your data goes through your own network and not through public endpoints. That ensures more security. Sebastian, back
Thanks
to
a
you.
lot. Yes, thanks a lot, Fred, for those more technical detail. So move here, take control, and here we are. Next slide, support and adoption by MSP technical teams. Here is a list of ideas and suggestions to equip you for all these. First, technical training strategy. Cloud adoption is not just about the technology, but also about the skills development for the people who work there. This involves Azure technical training and certification, by example, AZ900, AZ104, AZ305. A concrete example to participating in activities such as webinar, like today, training session, like tomorrow, and other events from your preferred distributor, right? I'm just saying. Next one, you can implement internet program. This is to stimulate and facilitate adoption. For example, creating a working team dedicated to governance, best practice, and innovation to define your standards, deployment model, and tool through pilot projects and transformation initiative. Another example, an ambassador program. Volunteer employee trained to promote cloud culture, act as a bridge between technical teams and salespeople, a bit like what I'm doing right now, and lead community like meeting circle or newsletter, exactly what our colleague Diane Usini does with our Copilot community. There is nothing stopping you from having these same initiative internally into your own company. And the adoption of modern management tools with the use of Azure Monitor, Log Analytic application inside. Okay, I know some are free and other paid. One thing of sure, they are there to help you monitor performance, create alert, and set up dashboard. You can build yourself your own service around that. And we will finish with post-migration optimization, fine-ups, and continuous evolution. Once all processes have been migrated to Azure, your role will have evolved into that of an optimization and innovation partner. Your next objective will be to ensure the performance, cost, control, and agility of this new cloud environment. Advanced monitoring with the Azure Monitor tool, which allow the collection and analysis of metric and logs from all Azure resources, with custom alerts and dashboard to monitor application performance, infrastructure, and other services. For log analytic, here we are talking about event correlation and anomaly detection with Microsoft Sentinel integration. Okay, that's one for another level too, I know. Next one will be our cost management optimization, the famous FinOps, mean financial operations. This is a management method that integrated financial principle and operational practice to optimize cloud spending by promoting collaboration between technical and financial teams. Pardon me. Microsoft used this term more and more. In simple, all this will go through the Azure Cost Management module. Please note, a future presentation is planned on this subject. By the way, stay tuned. For sure, reserve instance and saving plans. We are talking here about the cost reduction up to 72% on VM and database, depending on the pay-as-you-go rate. Please, if this doesn't mean anything to you, please book me a call. It is necessary, it is important that these saving strategy are in place in your client's environment. Next one, the right sizing. In short, it's also important to take advantage of the advisor advice. We are talking here about the identification of oversized or underutilized resources, recommendation for adjusting size, type, or services. Remember this one, the advisor is your friend. You have probably heard me say this before. He is a bit like the doctor of your subscription. He will tell you what its level of health and issue recommendation to improve the situation, whether financially, security, or otherwise. And finally, iteration, and continuous innovation. It is possible to offer your customer pays as you platform as a service. Sorry, migrating to Azure App Services, Azure SQL, Azure Function. A question of reducing operational workload. We are talking about more niche opportunities here. We know that, but we need to talk about them. Serverless with the use of Azure Function and Logic Apps with its pay as you go approach, high availability and agility too. More specific need address with those, I know. And we cannot miss out artificial intelligence for specific need, I know, but we are talking about integration of Azure AI service like Face, where we can detect and identify people and emotion in image, immersive reader, where we can help user to read and comprehend text, and vision, where Azure can analyze content in image and video. Fred, for your part, what interest you must once the migration is done with the customer?
Thank you, Sebastian. Well, once your data has been replicated and your machines are replicated every 5 minutes in Azure. Now, we're talking post migration, but we need a cutover transition plan. So you need to establish with your customer when are we shutting down or shutting down the local infrastructure or leaving from the other cloud platform or physical server. When are we doing basically our turn on in Azure? So that's what you need to verify with your client to ensure when exactly you have the green light to start up everything in Azure. Also, like I mentioned earlier, make sure that your applications are up and running. So speak with the application vendor if applications are self-hosted. And then after that, what is your mandate is to decommission the legacy infrastructure. So what are you going to do with the old hardware? Make sure that everything is turned off to ensure that your client is not working on the on-prem and thinking they're in the cloud. We've seen a lot of scenarios sometimes that there is some mix and matches. So once you have everything migrated, your cutover transition plan has been made with the client, you have the green light, make sure that you have decommissioned your legacy infrastructure to ensure that your new workload and everything that your client needs to do is running up in the cloud.
Thanks a lot again, friend, for this good recommendation. Take control again, click a mouse, and here we are. So, conclusion, here we are the final stretch. So, the end is coming, ladies and gentlemen. Hold down. So, we'll move to the event and news. So to be on the edge of our event and news through the event page, we where you can see our upcoming event, including training and webinars, workshop with the newsletter. Stay tuned and get the information in advance directly into your mailbox. Click or scan the QR code to get more information or just to enroll yourself about the newsletter. What's next? Oh, yes, the upcoming IT Cloud Academy events, where the term of the month is for sure driving adoption and change through migration. So you must be there tomorrow with our training with Fred Basson again. So we'll take a look about the end-to-end Azure migration for MSP. So tool, best practice, and how to repeat this success. So you must be there or your technician must be there. What's next? Yeah, for sure. Our IT support service teammate with our approach focus on service and transfer and strengthening your theme skills, we offer you a technological partnership. Our specialists are here to support you through the project management process. They will work with you to properly assess cost and the required license. They will explain how to deploy, configure, and secure your services. They will be your technical ally. Here, let's take a look at the service catalog. You have a multi-tenant collaboration project, a secure connection to replace an old VPN by example, global secure access. You want to demonstrate the effectiveness of AVD to a customer or deploy a telephony network with Teams phone, or simply that you have an idea that you want to explore further through a proof of concept. Please click or scan the QR code, and our team of specialists will be there for you with a transfer of expertise and personalized support. Yes, afterwards, you need additional help, a more specific scenario to evaluate, financial side, book a call with us, with Diane for Copilot and myself about Azure and operating system and software license, perpetual and subscription as well. Click or scan the QR code again. Yes, you need to catch up our last webinar's presentation. This case it easy. Go onto our YouTube channel and listen at your convenience. Yes, our training platform with Udemy. Through this partnership, your employees have access to the vast library to high quality courses, can improve their skill, keep up to date with industry trends. Also, this is where you can review our trainings through your IT Cloud Academy subscriptions. Here we are, finally, the evaluation slide. This is your awaited moment. Please take a minute to complete this survey. This is so important for us. Myself and Fred, as a presenter, this is one of the way we are evaluated within IT Cloud Academy. As a distributor, this is where we can collect your feedback to know if the session was useful. This is where you can share your opinion and to tell us how we can improve our next training and webinar or even different event session. So let us to know if you want to ask us to cover a specific subject. Let us to know. It will be a pleasure to assist you. Here we are, the last before slide. So thank you everybody about that. So we will see regarding the Q&A session. So I will take a look if any question in the room. No, it looks like easy. So it's the time to say goodbye. Fred, a last word to close this event.
Yes, I would like to thank everybody for your presence. So, should you have any questions or projects in sight or potential migrations due to today's webinar, don't hesitate to contact us. We are here for you. We'll evaluate your scenarios and we'll give you all the help we can. That's why we're here.
Amazing. So thank you again, everybody, for your presence. I hope we will meet you again tomorrow for the training or for our next session. Have a nice day. Bye bye now.
Bye.